Hi, and welcome to Pace TV, the Pace of San Diego. I'm your host, Angel Alvarez. On today's show, we'll be talking about an often forgotten and misunderstood population. That is people with learning disabilities. This group would include those with Down syndrome, autism, and other learning disabilities. Those with learning disabilities represent about 12% of our population. This amounts to about 1 in 5. To help us understand what it takes to get help for these individuals is the executive director of a program called Promising Futures, Gina Parra. Welcome, Gina.
Thank you,
Let's get
Angel.
started. Okay, we talk about learning disabilities, and there is a wide range of learning disabilities, but you guys take care of basically Down syndrome, autistic children. What are the kind of learning disabilities you deal with, and what is your basic approach to what you do?
So all of our clients that we serve are clients of the San Diego Regional Center. So there are, and I want to say 5 or 6 different type of diagnoses that we work with. So we work with anybody who has an intellectual disability. So that could be mild intellectual disability all the way up to severe. We also do work with clients that have Down syndromes, clients that have autism, clients that have cerebral palsy. And also another section of that too is clients that have seizure disorders. And then at times you'll get clients that have maybe a dual diagnosis where they also have an underlying mental health issue. So that's the gambit of the majority of the clients that we do serve. They all have to fall in those like 5 categories.
Okay, now when we talked earlier, you mentioned the San Diego Regional Center, and I was quite interested in finding out how that got involved. So when you talk about the Regional Center, if I have a child who has learning disabilities, whether it's autism or Down syndrome or any of the other things that you've talked about, what do I have to do to get my child diagnosed, I guess, and then find out what kind of help I can get with my child's learning disabilities?
Absolutely. Nowadays, parents will notice delays in their children early on. So, probably before the age of 2, if a child is not babbling by, 12 months, that's an indicator. Usually the doctor that is looking over your child will notice the milestones aren't being met. And so they'll tell you that, whether it's a speech delay or social interactions where they're just not developing that way. And so once the doctor identifies that there's these delays, a parent can go to San Diego Regional Center and apply for services as early as, as soon as the diagnosis from the doctor or those concerns are raised. And so a parent will go into San Diego Regional Center, apply for services, and then what they do at San Diego Regional Center is then they'll do an assessment of the child.
So they actually do the assessment and say, yes, this child has learning disabilities. We can see that. And then what are the parents' options then at that point?
So at that point, San Diego Regional Center has like an early intervention program. So they'll help parents work along and learn about the diagnosis and how to work with the children. And they do it like on a part-time basis, kind of like daycare. They'll go every couple of days, and maybe some go every day, 5 days a week. But they really learn, they really assess the child. I think for the motor development, the communication, introduce social skills, so they could start really early on. And the one thing that's really good about San Diego Regional Center is that if your child is diagnosed before the age of 18, and some occasions over the age of 18, but before the age of 18, they're entitled to lifelong services. So whatever that means, right? So most children that have some sort of disability will start early as the school age. They'll have an individual educational plan, and they'll work with school psychologists and, special education counselors and teachers to make sure that their school life goes well. And then when they turn 18 or graduate from high school, San Diego Regional Center will also help with the next steps of their lives. So they're entitled from the time, they get diagnosed all the way up until, end of life.
So as we say, from cradle to grave.
Yep,
they
absolutely.
have that. Okay, now your group was founded in 1985.
Yes, sir.
So you've been around for almost 40 years.
Yes.
And it was created by Martha
Morrissey.
Morrissey. Thank you, Martha Morrissey. And now Mrs. Morrissey had a daughter, and she was disabled or had learning disabilities, and so what did she decide she wanted to do? How did she get started with Promising Futures? I mean, she recognized that her child had a disability and just decided, I have to do something?
Right. I can only tell you, since I'm not speaking, I don't know the exact story, but the story that she does tell is that her daughter was diagnosed with autism at a very early age. And I know that she participated in the Autism National Institute for Research when she was really young. And from my understanding is that when Martha started, she started her very first group home with children. So I believe that these were children that had severe behavioral issues where the parents really couldn't care for them as much. And so she did. Her very first group home, I think there was like 6 children in that very first group home. And in fact, we still have 3 of them in our care to this day. But yeah, that's why she was worried about abuse. So she didn't want to send her daughter out in the world and then be abused. So she wanted to create a safe environment for these individuals to be able to learn, grow, and thrive. And she was really set on, she's an excellent teacher, and she was really set on teaching the children how to improve their communication, their social interactions, how to reduce maybe their maladaptive behaviors through ABA therapy techniques. So that's what she did. And then once they hit 18, she transferred the license into adult. So she was a community care licensed facility. So she transferred that, and she got another group home in El Cajon, so that transferred out. Then she, over the last 40 years, she opened 2 more group homes. And then all the clients in the group homes would go to day programs out in the community. And I don't think she liked the quality of services that were out there. She would find that individuals would go into these day programs and just sit in these large rooms, not do much. They were babysitting them basically. And she decided that she wanted to develop a program that really took it to the next level. And she did. She opened a day program. And so now we have one day program that has 2 programs in it. We have a behavioral modification program, and then we have adult development center program. So those are the 2 types that we serve. But yeah, that's where we are today.
Okay, now it was interesting because I remember when we talked before, and you just hit it again today. You started out with 6, and you still have 3 of those individuals 40 years later.
Yeah.
So these are certainly adults by this point. And you would have had a 4th, but her and her family moved away.
Yes, she
So
moved.
that's the only reason you don't have 4 of the
Correct.
original 6, which has to be a record of some kind.
I know.
Anytime you can keep patients or clients of any kind for 40-some years, you
Yes.
have to be doing something
Yes.
right. So, okay, some of the things that you just mentioned. So, when a child goes through, and we hope that the parents recognize this, the younger the better, right?
Yes.
So the quicker they can get their child diagnosed with a learning disability, the greater chance they have of finding a program that will work with their child.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then, so what do you think is one of the biggest differences in Promising Futures, and I think you hit on it just a second ago, but between what Promising Futures does and what some of the other programs do? I mean, there has to be more than just Promising Futures out there.
Oh, yes, there are.
Okay.
One of the things, and I've been in the disability field for almost 20 years now. The one thing that I noticed when I came to Promising Futures, I was so impressed by the educational curriculum that they did, and they continued it on. I've been with agencies that say when they come to our program, that we're not going to teach them how to tell time. We're not teaching them how to read or write. We're going to address the basic activities of daily living, like toothbrushing, hand washing, like let's cross the street. But when I came there, clients had reading programs, cognitive programs, and I was so impressed by that. And then each client, we talk about person-centered planning, right? So in this field, we always say that the individual we're going to plan for individualized. Other programs, do it in a sense, but not like Promising Futures. Promising Futures, when we get a referral for a client, we go to their homes, we meet them. We want to see them in their natural environments if they're still going to school. Then we bring them in and have a team meeting. And before they're even accepted, we draw out a whole intake plan for them in all the domains, communication domains. Like we want to know what they're good at, what they need help with, social, self-care, advocacy. And we develop a plan before they even start. And then we come in and we do 30 days. And the one thing that we do different than the agencies that I have worked for before is we do an in-depth 30-day comprehensive assessment of them in all those domains. And then from there, we do a 30-day meeting, and that's when we start developing goals specifically for them to improve their life. And the individuals that are in our behavioral modification program will track data, depending if it's aggression, property destruction, inappropriate social behaviors. We'll track that data for the first 30 days, and then we'll develop behavioral intervention plans to be able to help them reduce those maladaptive behaviors and improve their communication. So it's not like any other program I've ever seen before. And I think that is what is so successful about it.
Okay. Just sitting here, and you and I have we've met 2 or 3 times now, and we've talked about this, but it is fascinating to me to think that there are people that haven't been taught how to brush their teeth, how to wash their hands, just what you think of as, of course you teach your child that,
Right.
but is it that they haven't been taught, or that they just can't seem to get that and make that part of their daily habits or daily routines? Or
Well, I'd like to absolutely believe that parents do teach the kids all like their activity of, their activity of daily living. So as we call ADLs. What I think happens is that they just need more practice and consistent practice.
Okay.
And that's the reason why we do have our ISP programs and our behavioral plans, because we write them in such a way that you have to follow these certain steps to get the person to achieve a certain level. And so I absolutely believe that the parents do for the most part. It's just that constant, consistent. And then we do, at Promising Futures, we do rewards and reinforcement strategies. So we try to promote independence by identifying what the client likes and will work harder for, we say. And so we use motivational techniques to get them.
Yeah, we had talked about that, and some of the things that you had were fascinating, because they're all individuals, just
Yes.
like all of us,
Yes.
and so certain people respond to certain things, and other people respond to other things. But what are some of the kind of things that you use to motivate these people to do the things and keep with the program and continue learning?
Yes. So I was mentioning their 30-day intakes, right? And so during that, we talk to the parents and the teachers, and we're like, what do the clients really like? So someone might really, really enjoy surfing the internet using an iPad, or an individual like really likes to go out to this one specific place, whatever it is. It might be the museums at Balboa Park. And so we'll find all these things that they really do like. And so we'll track that. And then what we do is offer that as a motivation. So we're not restricting them, saying that, oh, you cannot use the iPad. But what we say is if you have a good day, you do all your programs, you brush your teeth, and you can spend this amount of time on the iPad. So they look forward to earning that. So they want to do well in order to get that reinforcer. But like I said, each individual is customized, their reinforcement programs. And so we have, Promising Futures has a wide gambit. So in our day programs, all the clients work for what we call a great day. So when they come into the program, they'll pick from 2 or 3 items that they highly value, and whatever that is. And then they'll choose it, and then they know it's there. So at the end of the day, if there's no behaviors, no property destruction, they complete their programs, they get that reward. While we're doing that, there are also individual programs going on. So we have like a point system during the day. So for a client, when they complete their goal, we give them points. Or if they are money makers, which we have some volunteer sites, and we Promising Futures actually will pay clients for their involvement in participating in some of their programs. And so we have clients that do money earners. So like during the day, they will also like track the points, but then that transfers into dollars by Friday. And then Friday, if a client doesn't have any behaviors all week, they get a special points lunch. And that's just for our day program. And so we have like 3 different strategies going on all week long for each individual client. And then what we do is we're really consistent too. So if a client does have a behavior, they don't earn points during that hour, which may affect their, points lunch on Friday or their money on Friday. And it also would affect their great day. So we're really good about saying, you know what, Ernie, you just you were upset earlier, and you threw the chair across the room. Today, you're not going to earn your great day, but we always offer a secondary. So you might not get that ice cream sandwich that you really, really wanted, but we'll offer you fruit, or a bag of chips, something that's less meaningful to you, but you still like. And so we'll do that. But the clients really get it because they look at their point sheets, they look at their data sheets. And so that's a nice way for them too to be responsible for themselves.
Okay, so they know that they can either earn it or lose it.
Yep.
Okay, so they're going to either try and figure out how to make sure that they stay with the
Yes.
program or understand the consequences.
Absolutely.
So, which is what life is all about,
Oh, yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
it's all about consequences. Okay, right now you have 4 residential homes.
I have 3.
Oh, 3. Okay, you have 3. And how many people are in those residential homes now?
So we have a total of 16. We have 2 of our homes are 5 beds and 1 is 6.
Okay, and then how does an individual get into that part? I mean, how do they wind up being in a residential home? Because you also have what I think of as walk-ins. I mean, just people that come on a daily basis to your programs. I know you have an art center where you do all kinds of drawing, and I remember going there and there were people sitting there working on like ABC puzzles and drawings, and there was quite a bit of art that was done there by many of the students over the period of time. And there was actually an art teacher that was there that I met that seemed to be quite interested in what he was doing. And that was, I think, the thing is the people that I met at the program seemed to be so, I guess, involved or interested in what they were doing. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, we get them in and we set them down and we throw them a couple of crayons and a piece of paper and tell them draw something. So, but the people seemed to be interested in what was going on with these clients, and seemed to be really interested in what they could do to help them improve and get better. But the reality is that for the majority of these people, there will never be, or I shouldn't say never be, but there will be fewer chances for them to be on their own? Or do you have people that graduate from the program and are able to manage on their own, to live on their own?
In our program, our clients mainly will probably need support for the rest of their lives, but there's other agencies out there and there's clients out there, I mean, that have full-time jobs, have a wife, have kids. And so there's a wide spectrum of people, and so yes, they still may need some support, they may need someone to come in and help them with budgeting and stuff like that.
Okay.
But our clients that we currently serve will probably need support for the rest of their lives.
Well, now was that a decision by Mrs. Morrissey, or was that, I mean, how did you wind up in doing it that way, as opposed to saying, oh well, we want that guy and that guy and that guy because they look like they could move on through the program and be gone in 3 years or whatever?
When she developed the day program and she chose the 2 programs, the Behavior Mod program and the Adult Development Center, which is an ADC program, those clients are referred from San Diego Regional Center. So they will only refer clients to us that belong in those programs. They have to have like a certain level of need and care for those programs. So an individual who can obtain a job out in the community wouldn't come to our program because it wouldn't be appropriate.
Okay, now was that a decision that she made at the beginning, or oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she said, I want to deal with these people because they're going to need the most help,
Yes.
and I can do the most for them, as opposed to someone who is only 20% deficient or 10% deficient that I could see going out on their own within 5 years or 3 years or whatever.
Right. And I can't really speak what made her pick those programs. I'm not sure if 40 years ago those were the only
Oh,
programs that
okay,
were
okay,
around. You know,
okay,
employment's really huge now, and that blew up probably. And I mean, employment's always been a thing, but like in 2014, employment services really took off with the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. But maybe it was just that that was the program that she had available to her at her time, and maybe other programs weren't quite there. I'm not sure why she made that decision.
okay, okay,
But Promising Futures, we do want to, our goal is to start providing services to individuals with other needs. So I would love to have an employment program at our center.
Well, you do have some, right? Because you have some of your people that go to 7-Eleven
Yeah.
and stock shelves and dust the shelves. They wouldn't work behind the register or do
No.
anything handling money, but they do provide other help in the store. And are those people then, are they some of the ones that get paid?
So we pay them, Promising Futures does. So
Okay. So 7-Eleven
it's like
doesn't.
no,
Okay.
it's like a volunteer. So
Okay.
we've made a partnership with them that our group. So one job coach, 3 clients will come in 2 or 3 days a week, and they're learning how to do vocational skills. So it's just vocational skill training, but Promising Futures will pay them for that.
Okay. And then, okay. So then they would use that money for their
Whatever they wanted.
whatever they want. So, I mean, we're certainly not paying them $30 an hour.
No.
But, okay. But they are able to do and be out in the community and do something besides the day program at the center.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we volunteer at the Humane Society in El Cajon.
Okay.
We volunteer obviously at 7-Eleven. We actually volunteer at San Diego Regional Center. So those are the few volunteer sites that we have now, and we're always looking to expand those for our clients.
Okay, when you take in a new client, and you talked about that early on, you meet with the parents and you meet with the individual, and then what is your approach at that point with the parents and the individual as to how you see them developing, or what you see in that individual, and how do you determine where you think that person will slot into your existing program? And not everybody lives in the residence. So you have a lot of individuals that still live at home that come to your day programs, and then at the end of the day, as we would say, at the end of the workday, then they go back home and they're still living with their parents. Now, for those individuals, what so what level of care are they getting besides being connected to Promising Futures and being able to take advantage of the things that you're offering?
So when we do the intake, we kind of have an idea before we even meet the client whether or not which program they might be eligible for.
Okay, now let me stop you. So you get information from the regional
Yes.
center that says, okay, we have Steve or we have Mary. This is how we have tested them, and this is what we see.
Correct.
Okay.
We get a referral packet.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You and I talked
Yeah,
about
we
that.
get a referral packet, which includes an individual program plan from Regional Center. We get their historic psychological eval, their social summary from when they first got diagnosed, from the psychologist. We'll get a client developmental evaluation, progress report from them. We may get school information. And if they've been in other programs besides Promising Futures and it just didn't work out, we may ask the last program for information.
Okay.
But we can tell early on, mainly by the behaviors. right? A client's maladaptive behaviors or their needs. So if they have property destruction, we wouldn't put them in an adult development center program. We would put them in the behavior mod because we want to reduce the maladaptive behaviors. And
So
so,
you want to stop that
yes,
throwing the chair across the
yes.
room stuff. Okay.
So we'll put them in a different program. So that's really how we assess which program they're going into. And also, to be honest with you, we don't accept everybody that has behavioral, challenges, just because we want to make sure that when we bring a client in, that our other clients are going to be safe and our staff.
Okay.
Because some behavior challenges could be quite extreme. And so we just want to know, and getting that truth up front sometimes is a little tricky. Parents don't always really, are really open and honest. I think for fear that they won't get accepted and
yeah, of
such like
course.
that. So, but that's really how we do it. We really we read the paperwork, and then sometimes the paperwork is even more scary than the person. So we never take it for face value. We want to meet them, we want to see them, we want to interact with them, and see what it goes on. And then if we can meet their needs, absolutely, we will take them in.
Okay, now let me ask you the $64,000 questions they used to say. Do we see the number of people requiring your kind of services increasing or decreasing?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess that would be a San Diego regional question because, they're the ones who are getting all the intakes and such. But I actually want to say I think it has increased historically, even from my time. I think a lot of people didn't get diagnosed early on.
Okay.
And so I think people are being more proactive now. I think the educational materials are out there. People are communicating more about those early developmental stages that the child needs to meet. And so I would say it's changed over the years, and now more people are getting the diagnosis and the services that they need.
Okay, but which could be a good thing.
Yes.
Because
Oh, absolutely.
obviously these people are going to need help, and somebody has to help
Oh,
them.
absolutely.
So
Yes.
we need to get them identified so that they can get help, as opposed to winding up at 25 and nobody's done anything.
Still at mom and dad's house,
Still
not
at
doing
mom and
anything.
dad's house, not doing anything. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Gina, this has been great. I appreciate your coming in today and doing this. And for those of you out there in the viewing audience, I hope you've learned something new today. I know I have. And we hope that you will come back and join us again sometime soon. And remember that there's a lot of people out there that need help. And you as an individual can do a lot, and not have to do a whole lot. So we thank you for viewing here at PACE TV, the PACE of San Diego, and we hope you'll come back soon.